Welcome to the Damn Good Friends podcast. This is episode 90, brought to you by Shelter Insurance in Westphalia, Missouri. You got to say it now, Mac's not here. The Shield. There you go. The Shield. He takes care of you guys and all your needs for your health, auto, car, life, all the good stuff, taking care of his community. Also brought to you by Movets Outdoors, getting veterans in the outdoors and taking care of them. We are brought to you also today with my co-host, pro staffer, Cody Fields. Welcome. And we have a special guest. But before that, the views, informations, or opinions expressed during the Damn Good Friends podcast are solely those of the individuals involved and are not affiliated with any military or government organization. This podcast is not endorsed by, directly affiliated with, maintained, authorized, or sponsored by any branch of the military, the Department of War, or the U.S. government. The content provided is for general informational purposes only and does not constitute professional or legal advice. And we may not get legal about anything, but I'm really excited for our special guest, Ms. Jana Waller Bair. You are
Thank you so
probably
much.
the most famous person we've had on yet. And I'm
That's
not
not
gonna
saying a whole
lie.
lot, guys.
Well, I'm not gonna lie. You're huge in the outdoor community. Obviously, from the look in your background, you've got a lot of success in the outdoor community as far as hunting. But you're also a great voice in conservation, and that's part of what we want to hear about today. So thank you very much for coming on the Damn Good Friends podcast.
Oh, I'm so excited to finally be here. I'm really sorry we had to push it back a couple of different times. And, my schedule is pretty crazy right now. My husband has a bear tag in his pocket here in Utah. It is not an over-the-counter tag like other states. So we are still chasing that big bear. And so we've had to push our podcast back a little bit. But I'm really excited to be here. Happy to chat about all things hunting. I'm passionate about conservation, very passionate about the veteran hunts that I've done that we can talk about. But no, I'm happy to be here.
That's great. And honestly, as much as we've pushed it back, it's been for the things we want to talk about. You got a
Yeah.
bear tag. You were on a coyote hunt. We had a bow hunting competition. We had a coyote hunt. Like, there's been lots of things that we're doing in the outdoors. It's the stuff we love, and it's what we want to talk about. So,
Exactly. All good stuff.
yes. Well, Jana, just tell us a little bit about yourself. Not everybody's heard of Skullbound TV, believe it or not. All the good people have, but tell us a little bit about yourself, where you come from, how it got started,
Yeah.
your big
Well, you
interest
can
in.
probably tell if you listen to me long enough that I'm not from the West where I live now. I'm a Wisconsinite, proud Wisconsinite from southern Wisconsin. Grew up. I was the second daughter of just two daughters from my parents. It's funny. In the beginning of this, I've been doing Skullbound now for 16 years, and I always joked about, in fact, even before Skullbound, that my dad really wanted a boy. It didn't have one. He had me, so he turned me into one. Well, nowadays you really can't joke about that. You can, but it kind of means different things. But he really did, though. See, I was a total tomboy. Saw in me my love of being outside, and so when he was smart enough to just really encourage that. He took me pheasant hunting and took me into the duck blinds when I was little, and I just love the outdoors. He signed me up for hunter safety when I was 12 back in 1983. You can do the math. And it was one of the greatest things he ever did for me, though, because I never felt weird being, the only girl in hunter safety. Actually, there might have been one other one, but I've just always been super comfortable. When I was in junior high, my dad and I would road trip it to South Dakota pheasant hunting. I never even had a gun. I just was happy to walk along the fields, and I was the official bird gutter. And just in like I always tell parents, you don't have to throw a weapon in your kids' hands right away. That can be super intimidating if they're little. Let them come along. Let them shadow you. Let them sit in the goose blinds. Let them sit in your tree stand. And that's what my dad did with me. And when I was when I was in college, I was a freshman. I met my first lady bow hunter. Now, mind you, there were others I'd seen on TV, but like I talked to this girl was a friend of my roommates, and she was a bow hunter, and I'm like, oh, that's so cool. I've sat in the tree stands and stuff, but I just don't know if I could pull a bow back, and I don't know if I could kill a deer. And she's like, of course you can. You just got to get a bow that fits you. And so that was my aha moment. Like, if she can do it, I can do it, kind of thing. And so from then on, I've been bow hunting now over 30 years. And it's just a total passion of mine. Of course, in Wisconsin, the only thing I really bow hunted was whitetails.
Right.
But then I moved out to Montana 16 years ago. And my boyfriend at the time, he was producing a show called Nosler's Magnum TV on the Outdoor Channel. And he said, there's hardly any solo female hosted shows out there. Let's do one. I said, let's do it. And I'd always been involved in conservation. We can get into that a little down the road, but I wanted to show that we hunters are animal lovers, that we give back more to wildlife, and we have more animals because we hunt animals. And I wanted that messaging to be in the show. And the reason we called it Skullbound is I'm a skull artist. I bead and paint skulls for myself, for clients, for conservation groups. And so we wanted to incorporate that, bringing the beauty of nature and skulls inside artwork. I donated a ton of them to conservation groups even before my TV show. And so that's why we called it Skullbound. Everyone kind of looks at me weird, like, you're hunting skulls? Like, no, it's just called Skullbound because I'm a skull artist. But if I took back
there's nothing for deadheads or something.
yeah, exactly. Which is cool too. I mean, but yeah, it's been super fun to I really honestly thought we'd do the show a couple years, and because most TV shows have a 3-year lifespan, and it just, man, the train is still running down the tracks like crazy. I was on Sportsman's Channel for 9 years, and then was toying with the idea of going digital. Thought about YouTube, thought about other digital platforms, but one of my best friends became president of Carbon TV, and she's like, you got to come over to Carbon. So in year 9 of when I was on Sportsman's, I also aired Skullbound Chronicles on Carbon, and sort of to see how they did. And really, as TV is it's changing, it's evolving. Most of us get our hunting shows on our phone or watch it on an app or watch it on YouTube and such. So I jumped over to Carbon year 9, and then it did so well that year 10, I just went completely digital. I went all over to Carbon TV, and I've been on Carbon TV for the last 8 seasons. And this year, though, in January, I decided I've got 16 years worth of stuff, like short stuff, long stuff, all kinds of amazing encounters in the wild, that I finally launched a YouTube channel. And so their Skullbound is now up on YouTube as well as Carbon TV.
Very nice.
Yeah.
And I've got to admit, that's where I've watched the majority of your shows. Is I found it on YouTube and found you on Instagram and kind of put 2 and 2 together. But I didn't, I mean, I think I messaged you like probably a year ago or more, just asking questions on how you started and whatnot, or how, like, I asked a sponsor's question or something like that, and you were quick to respond, which not everybody does that. So I really appreciate you doing that.
Of course.
But whenever you did first start, I'm sure you had connections. What were the struggles with getting a show started?
Yeah. Because my boyfriend at the time had the show already, he knew the business model, which was a huge advantage for us. And I really do believe that being a solo female hosted show was a huge advantage because there weren't that many. I mean, there's, Melissa Bachman is another one off the top of my head. She and I started kind of along the same time, I think. She's amazing. I absolutely love her show. She's still on Sportsman's Channel. And, but it was a foot in the door. It was definitely different than, a bunch of guys wanting to start a hunting show, which is pretty common, And so,
yeah.
Yeah. It's a beautiful thing, and it does really well for some people. It's just tough because there's a lot of competition, and obviously we need, you have bills to pay, and it's hard to make a living out of it. But so we had some connections through my ex who was in the industry, but also just going, honestly, I developed a media kit. And I said, this is my goal. I want to show people that we're animal lovers, and that, women and girls can do it too. And that, I just wanted to show everything. And we approached people, we went to SHOT Show, and we approached people with our media kit, and we approached Sportsman's Channel, and right away they were like, let's go. I mean, it was awesome. And everything in life is timing, right? It was just awesome timing to have a female host. And they were fantastic to work with. In fact, I miss the crew over there. I don't talk to them much anymore, but they were just so great. And they were great friends as well as business partners. They helped launch Skullbound. I remember second third year of walking into SHOT Show. So the first year I had not even produced much anything. We actually put a sizzle reel together because we'd gone to Africa. We'd hunted some turkeys and I think one whitetail hunt, put a sizzle reel together. So we did have that to show people what our show was about and to try to get sponsors involved. But then
Is it
next,
real quick? Is it sizzle reel? Is that like kind of a this is what we've done
it's
video
kind of a,
compiled or something?
it's kind of a, like a, I think our sizzle reel was 5 minutes long and it was boom, boom, boom. It was, um, me, so people could see me on camera, could see the quality of our production, could see the kind of, wildlife that we wanted to show. But it was basically a 5 or 6 minute, if you took 4 episodes and boiled them into one, made it
Okay.
super fast paced, really good music behind it. And that's what we took into companies to work with us. And my gosh, half the companies, more than half of them that I've been working with them now 16 years. I mean, companies like
Impressive.
Vortex, I signed Vortex right
Mm-hmm.
away. Again, I'm a Wisconsin girl, though, Wisconsin company.
Mm-hmm.
It was a great fit that way. Onyx Maps. And then I moved to Montana, but Onyx Maps, who's Missoula, born and bred of Montana, they signed on right away. AMS Bow Fishing was on right away. Most of my partners I've been with since the very beginning, which is really cool to say. I'm very proud of that. And anyway, so yeah, we pitched it. We got some, 3 or 4, maybe 5 really solid sponsors right off the bat. And the Sportsman's Channel was so great with us and giving us discounted airtime. And that's the difference in the business model between Sportsman Channel, Outdoor Channel versus a YouTube or Carbon TV. It's free to put stuff on Carbon TV. It's free to put stuff on YouTube. Airtime with Sportsman's and Outdoor is quite expensive. Right now, well, again, this has been 8 years now, but the last time I think I paid, it depends on how many minutes of commercial time you're buying for your partners. But I think I had 2.5 minutes of the 8-minute commercial time, and I think we were paying $65,000 plus closed captioning fees. So you're looking at $75,000 if you
Wow.
buy the commercials.
Holy
Wow.
nikes.
Yeah, and that's just 2.5 minutes of the 8. Yeah, so it's expensive business model. It worked great for us for 9 years. It was awesome. At the 9-year mark, my producer, cameraman slash boyfriend, and I broke up. I continued on then with Skullbound Chronicles on Carbon TV, jumped over the next year all to Carbon TV, and now I run the show. I've got my producer is Heath Helgert of H2O Productions. He's a fantastic cinematographer. He's the best storyteller. He can take, we always say, he can take my chicken and turn it into chicken soup because I am not a camera person at all. My husband is actually learning camera. He went to a camera school and absolutely loved it. And he's been a fantastic part of the show. He's been on it with me a ton. He also cameras a ton. And but we'll film a bunch of stuff and send it to Heath, and it's just amazing what he puts it all together and tells a good story. But yeah, we're a really small team. It's basically Heath, my husband, and I, and that makes it a really well-oiled machine, very low overhead, and we can continue to do what we do. It's been a
Y-
total blessing. I thought it would be a couple of years. Is now 16 years and running.
Wow. You kind of make it sound like it's low maintenance then. Is it?
Honestly, like every year I threaten I'm going to retire. Like I'm old. I'm like, I'm done with this, right? But it's just, I love it so much. I mean, I love to hunt. I'd hunt every single day if I could, every single species. I just love it. And obviously it's a lot of work, but I love everything. The one thing I don't know a ton about, like I'm not a waterfowler. I'm not a big, and I don't really pheasant hunt much anymore. That was more when I was a kid. So like there's always something more you can get into. So I could
Hmm.
literally like, if I had more time, I would get into more styles of hunting. But I'm primarily a big game hunter. I don't hunt with a bow as much as I used to. I'm love the rifle. But I got into pistol hunting about I think 7 or 8 years ago now, and that's been a totally fun adventure. I've taken out either my Desert Eagle or my 30-30, and I've gotten mountain lion, bear, turkey, hog, javelina, missing something. But yeah, so pistol hunting is super fun. But yeah, I definitely don't claim to be an expert at anything. I'm kind of spread out, but I love it all. And if I had more time and I probably didn't do the show or work as hard, I would just hunt more.
It's funny that you say there's always something else that you could get into, and I
Yeah.
think our wives probably they're not always the most patient with us when we're like, hey, we're going to try this new thing. Guess what? We're going alligator hunting. Oh my God, here we go again.
Yeah, it is. I'm really lucky that my husband here is just as into crazy stuff as I am. Like we
Yeah,
just got back from Texas. I think that was probably another reason we had to bump our podcast. We just got back from bow fishing Texas, and he's never really bow fished a whole lot.
I
It
saw that on
is
your Instagram. That is
I'm t-
crazy.
it is so much fun. Well, especially like to me, bow fishing alligator gar is the pinnacle. I'd rather bow fish alligator gar than alligators, which I've done.
hmm
Alligator gar are these prehistoric looking dinosaurish creatures that get up to 8 feet long and like it's very challenging because if the spawn is not on, they have lungs, they have to come up and they breathe and they roll back under. So really half the time you're just like hearing the slurp of the gulp. And then you look and there's just a ring on the top of the water and they're diving down. Like that's all you have time wise most of the time. And the fact that I shot a beautiful big 6 foot gar the second night, John shot his very first gar, about a 5 footer. And then on the last day, Matt Schillinger from AMS Bow Fishing, he was the reason for the trip. He, we were just about done. We were going to make one more pass down this, well, the lake had flooded and there was all this brush in the water. So we were going to make one more pass down this big line of brush. And I don't even know what I was looking at, because you're standing at the front of the boat and you're looking for swirls and you're fishing, but hour after hour and in the heat of Texas, it like you kind of daydream a little bit. I heard Matt
hmm
go, "Oh my." And I look and there in the front of the boat, like literally probably 5 feet off the boat, this monster alligator gar was just cruising by under the surface. And they never do that. They're like usually, "Oop." They take a gulp and they're gone. This and all the spotted gar that are like 2.5 feet, they're always cruising right under the surface super slow. And you're like, why can't
Yeah,
the
there's a
alligator
lot in
gar do
Missouri.
that?
I have
Yeah.
a bunch of those.
It,
Yeah.
it just cruised by Matt's arrow. Thwunk. I drew back. Thwunk. And before it didn't even act crazy when the two arrows struck it. And it went down and we chased that thing. And it didn't act crazy. We got a third arrow in it too. It didn't act crazy until we got it to the boat. Things got a little western. It was awesome. And then you got a this was a 7'2" gator gar with a 38-inch circumference. It was a
Oh, yeah.
beast. It's a fish of a lifetime. And so that was just amazing. But I'm sorry, I got off track a little bit. But that's what I mean about trying new stuff. And my
hmm
husband
Right.
was like, "This is crazy." It
So,
was
so
so
you're
much
probably
fun.
going to go alligator gar fishing again.
Oh, both fishing 100%.
Bow
Yeah.
fishing, yeah.
Yeah.
You beat me to my question. I was going to ask you about that trip too, because I saw the stuff on Instagram. That is a huge monster, just of a fish. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's crazy. And we finally got it into the boat and and then we were like, this is a fish of a lifetime. And we took the time to get just like a big buck, you want good photos. This is what you've got to remember this amazing day the rest of your life. So we
hmm
actually got in the water with it and we're holding it up and we just got the best pictures and video and it was so much fun. Like bow fishing to me it's been such a gift. I was actually introduced to it when I was living in Wisconsin, and AMS bow fishing is out of Wisconsin. And my girlfriend said, "Hey, do you want to go bow fishing?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I don't have anything though." She goes, "No, I know the people from AMS. They've got everything on the boat. They're gonna take us out." So we went out on Castle Rock Lake for carp and had the best time. It was so much fun. It's just so great because you can, miss and you reel your arrow back up and you just put along more and you find more carp. And from carp to alligators, there's bow fishing in every single state, and it is so much fun. I really encourage people to get out there and do it. Plus, you're helping the wildlife. Most carp are invasive. We need them out of the
hmm
water anyway. You collect them in the tubs. But I've been bow fishing with Matt, with AMS for big heads in Kentucky, gators in Florida, gator gar in Texas, um, carp all over. Just I've been down to Louisiana and shot a ton of big, huge catfish. And bow fishing is just such a good thing to add on to your outdoor lifestyle.
One more season. I'm
Yeah,
always looking for
exactly.
one more season.
Extra time.
Exactly.
Extra time.
Exactly.
There
Yeah.
was a big thing I saw, and speaking of conservation and bow fishing, I think it was Oklahoma, where they were putting bounties on the big head carp or the Asian carp, whichever, if they're the same thing. And there
No,
was a
they're
guy that went out bow fishing, and he got enough carp that he had several $100,000 that the conservation department would owe him.
yeah.
Like he went out for several weeks and was just nailing them all.
I bet you it was the flying carp,
Yes.
Hmm.
also known as the Asian carp. Now apparently we can't say that, in this day and age of
Oh,
right? But
fish.
those are what's called Asian carp. Forever they've been called Asian carp. But they're
Uh-huh.
the ones that fly out of the water. Big
Yes.
heads are different. Big heads are plankton feeders. They've got the big, big, big mouths. But it's so fun because, like, I went with Dennis Redding down in Kentucky and Matt, my buddy. That's so fun because the water's kind of murky and you just see these white rings. And it's their mouths. They're feeding on plankton. You just see these white rings coming at you in the
Hmm.
water.
Is
It's
that where you're
just
aiming then?
yeah, well,
Yeah.
there's not a whole lot of aim to bow fishing. There is and there isn't. I mean, it's a lot of snap shooting, and it's actually
Uh-huh.
very instinctual. It's so much different than shooting a compound. It's more like shooting a recurve, honestly. It's
Okay.
kind of snap shooting. And the AMS bows can be tuned way down for kids too. So it makes it really fun for the entire family.
You talk
Heck
about
yeah.
those Asian carp. Brenda got hit with one this weekend on the river.
Oh,
On the
yeah.
Mississippi?
Oh yeah, yeah. We,
Oh.
we,
That
we went
happens.
catfishing on the Mississippi this last weekend, and my wife got hit right
She
upside the
okay?
shoulder by. Oh yeah, she's fine.
Oh, it
It was
it can really
scared the
hurt
crap out
people.
of her, but
Oh,
Yeah,
gosh.
yeah. No, I've seen videos where it's like knocked people out or,
Uh-huh.
oh yeah.
That's why I
girls
feel
with
bad for
bla-
laughing, but I can't help myself.
Oh,
girls
she
with
laughed
big
after
black
the
eyes and
fact.
split lips, like from carp fishing. Yeah, they're pretty, and the numbers are just gone crazy in the lakes. It's become a huge conservation issue.
We actually used that. That's what we were using for our catfish bait was cut
Yeah,
Asian carp.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Worked pretty well.
Heck
so
yeah.
fun. Did you catch a bunch?
We caught a few. We caught 10, about
Nice.
a little over 100 pounds worth of blue cat.
Oh, fun. Yeah, that's way fun.
Makes for a good fish fry.
Hmm.
Heck yeah, I love it.
Golly. So as far as you're hunting and you're fishing your seasons and whatnot, one of the questions I had for you, because I think about this with especially people that get to hunt more than I do, but have you ever had like gotten a tag or gone on a hunt where you had one expectation and it was totally different from that? And it could be bow fishing or something too, but if it went off
Um,
the wall and changed on you.
I had one that was different than I expected in a really good way. I
Okay.
was invited to Maryland to bowfish sika deer. Now, some people say sika, some people say sika. People love to correct hunting show people, by the way.
Potato, potato. Yes,
Right? But yeah,
all the
anyone who's
time.
got a podcast, they love to rip on you. Anyone who's a TV show, they love to say you're wrong here and here and here. But Sika, not Sika blacktail. That's totally different. This is Sika or Sika, depending how you like to say it. These are small Asian, aquatic little deer. They're more like little elk, if you ask me. But I met a guy at SHOT Show. His name's Dale Gertz, and he invited me to come to Maryland and bowfish Sika deer. And at first I was like, yeah, yeah, I get a ton of invites and you don't know people and it's like hard, yeah. But then after talking to him a bunch of times, seemed the nicest guy. He and all of his buddies. He has a cabin in the woods, and I'm like, yeah, we'll put it on our calendar for next year. Let's go. It was the coolest hunt because back at the turn of the century in Dorchester County, Maryland. I don't know if it was some foreign debutante gifted a bunch of Sika deer to someone in Maryland. They put them out on an island, which wasn't the smartest because it flooded. They all swam to the mainland. At that, and they also planted Phragmite grass, which is extremely invasive. But Dorchester County now is like home to thousands of Sika deer and humongous patches of Phragmite grass. But
Interesting.
yeah, and they have whitetails too, of course, there. But it is so cool because, for example, Dale gave us a tour of the cabin and the land, and he showed us some of the stands. But we had to wear waders because you're literally walking to your stand, and then it like turns into a big swamp, and you literally up to your chest in water, and you'd come back out on these little mounds of dirt, and there'd be a couple of trees, and then you're back in the water. And he had tree stands set up literally in the swamp. And the first night we sat out, it was so cool because it was the roar, their rut, and they bugle, the bulls bugle, Snuffles, stags bugle. I call them bucks, but it's wrong. It's stags. They
Okay.
bugle like little elk and they whistle almost always 3 times, in a row. And then they'll get like 10 minutes later, you can hear the whistle again. And you're like, oh, that's closer. So they're like bugling elk. You can hear them coming. And the hinds, they're so cute. They're really little. They got little fluffy butts and spots all over. And like we were sitting there and I heard this slosh, slosh, slosh. And I remember turning and looking down and here comes this hind swimming through the water. And then she comes up onto the land and, and looking around and they mew just like cow elk. It was
Mhm.
so cool. The second day of the hunt, he put us in this big stump blind. It looked like a big, huge stump. And it wasn't exactly conducive to filming out of, which we didn't really think about till we were in the moment. But we got in there in the morning and it was all dark. And then as it got a little bit lighter, you could see it was those windows like this on some of those blinds, and I mean, you can shoot out of them, but to film and shoot, it's pretty challenging. And when you know it, monster stag came in, like one they had not even seen on trail camera or anything, and it's up on YouTube. You can see it. I arrowed him, good shot, runs off, freaking out. In fact, I could not see it, the stag, and the camera could see it. So we ended up like standing up and really quietly switching positions and you know how everything echoes in one of those blinds. You don't want to
Yeah.
make a ton of noise. I didn't want to scare him away. I knew this was a beautiful stag. And I would have been happy to take a hind. Like this was such a cool experience that I'd never even heard of until Dale told me about it. Anyway, I arrowed the stag. He runs off and we're celebrating and the video's not the best because he's kind of like wobbling through the little windows to see, but I was not going to pass on that opportunity. And that stag ended up going, that was the seventh largest ever taken with a bow. At the time,
Wow.
it's probably been beat by now. It was a while
Wow.
back, but yeah, it was just dumb luck, but that's a big part of hunting too. And I'll take luck any day of the week. So
I'd
that
rather
was
be
that.
lucky than good every day.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
exactly. And so that was one I just didn't expect it to be that cool. Like it was, if anyone ever has a chance to go Sitka hunting in Maryland, you got to do it. It was amazing.
And are those Sitka, are they only in Maryland?
I think so. I don't think they're in any
But they,
other surroundings. They're not even in all of Maryland. I think
it's
it's
it,
primarily Dorchester County. I might be
because
wrong
of
on that.
the terrain and the wet, swampy areas, I assume.
Yeah, it's literally swampy. There's a ton of public land. You
Yeah.
can, but you got to know how to maneuver it. You got to have a boat. It's definitely, I think,
For
more
sure.
of more. Yeah, you could go out and try. That'd be awesome to film that. But it was just way cooler than I anticipated.
I would assume with a limited area like that, though, they would probably have limited tags, wouldn't they, for that kind of
I
species?
think it's over the counter, if I remember. Now, mind you, this was like 9 or 10 years ago. I
Okay.
won't say it was not a draw. I'm pretty sure it was over the counter. And I'm pretty sure you can get either you can apply to get hind tags or stag tags. Um, if you get the opportunity, you got to go. It was so cool. Props to
I'm
Dale
gonna
Gertz and his
definitely
crew
take note
because
of that.
I'll be
yeah,
getting on Google later trying to figure that one out. So
yeah, it was awesome. I know there's an outfitter there too. There's only one, maybe two outfitters in that area. One is very, I can't even think of the name right now. Like I said, it's been 9 or 10 years. Very predominant outfitter that does guides there as
They
well.
probably have the market cornered there for that.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Well, I know, like, I know the reason I think of it is because there's like around some of the lakes here in Missouri, there'll be like an island that has a small land bridge or a bridge to it, and there's a population of deer on it, and they'll have management hunts on it, but they only do like 10 tags for the island
Hmm.
every other year or something like
mhm.
that. So I didn't know
Yeah.
if it'd be similar to
Yeah.
that.
No, I want to say it's over the counter. It's a cool opportunity.
Did you learn any? Well, obviously it was different than what you were thinking, but on a hunt like that, did you learn any lessons that would only be stuff you would use when you go second hunting,
Uh,
or
a
was it
lot of
was it
it, a
was it
lot of
more
it.
like whitetail hunting? Just
Yeah.
yeah.
A lot of it is patience, right?
Hmm.
Patience. It's a different, I don't think you're going to look for sign as much as you are whitetail hunting. Obviously there's not the ground to look for scrapes and rubs um, but it was so cool. If I lived closer, I would try to do that every other year because it was just so cool. It was such a
Nice.
unique experience. But, I think patience is just a commonality you learn with anything. But it's just so unique and different. I don't even know. There's guys that like I've stayed in contact with a ton of the guys and Dale that do that every year, and they have a cabin, and they've gotten it down. They really know what they're doing. They know where to put their stands. Yeah. But again, like whitetail hunting too, if you can hunt the roar and the rut of whitetails, you're gonna have your chances of success are gonna be so much higher.
Of course.
Yeah.
And we talk about it every year. Like this year, we're hosting our Big Bucks tournament for the second year, and a lot of people are hesitant on getting into it in Missouri. And here comes my dog.
Oh,
I
yay.
hear him.
Ignore the barking. But people are hesitant to get into it because they're not seeing bucks on camera or whatever. And we always tell them, you know, the rut will bring you luck.
Yeah,
You're going
exactly.
to kill your biggest buck ever, so this is just an opportunity for you.
Yeah. And you never know. I killed my biggest whitetail when it was a gift from God. It was an absolute surprise. I'll tell it really quick. So my dad has had a cabin in Wisconsin, near the Wisconsin Dells, and it was just such an amazing 20 years of memories up at that cabin, right? And I moved out west to Montana when I started my show in '09, and but I would still go back almost every year and hunt whitetails with them, but not as much as when I lived there. When I lived there, I was actually, driving up to the cabin every Wednesday, hunting Wednesday evening, either spending the night driving all the way back home, about 2 hour drive from my home in Fort Atkinson, and then every weekend and all fall. Like I just lived to bow hunt whitetails. That's all I cared about. And but so I moved out west. I tried to get back there. I didn't get back there bow hunting very much, just because of all the other hunts that we had in the fall. But I would
Right.
go back and spend the opener weekend. And Wisconsin's season is just like Saturday through the following Sunday. And we never even hunted second weekend. We'd always just hunt first weekend, family and friends to the cabin. And my dad he'd been trying to sell the cabin for a bunch of years, finally sold it. And he called me up and he said, I've got a buyer. If you want to come, I know you weren't going to come this year, but come for just a couple days and say goodbye to the cabin. I was like, I have to do that, I have to say goodbye. So I flew to Wisconsin on a Thursday. Friday, I went up to the cabin and I told my dad, like, I didn't, no cameras, no nothing. I just went by myself. And I said, I want to hunt, go back to the stand that I did my very first hunt out of here at the cabin. It was this old box blind that was like teetering, that like this thing needs to be bulldozed. It's such a piece of crap. But I really wanted to sit in it. So I went out Friday to check it. And I actually filmed all this on my cell phone. It's kind of funny. It's actually not highlighted on the highlights on Instagram. You can go watch it. But so I literally had to, I call it football drill, push my way in through the door because it had warped and I couldn't get the door open to and it was like kind of tilting and all the windows are broke out and the ceiling's caving in. I mean, this thing is just a piece of crap. And but I was so excited to sit there one last time and just soak it all in. I 20 years of amazing memories with my dad.
Mhm.
And so Saturday morning comes, we get up. I was always out the door before almost everybody except my Uncle Bill, who was always out. He and I wanted to be in our stands and let everybody else kick stuff to us, right? So I went out there, it was in the dark, and I was just feeling such gratitude. First off, it had been the first time in forever that I'd been up there by myself, or sitting by myself without a camera in my face. And there's just a different feel. I love the fact that all my memories are caught on film the last 16 years, but it does take away from the just peace and quiet of being by yourself. And I know there's a lot of solo filmers out there. Props to you because I can't keep it straight to I just rather zone out in the wild and I don't want to worry about my GoPros and my camera and this and that. I've never really solo filmed much except my 5-minute antelope hunt, which we could talk about in a minute. But anyway, so the light comes up. It's just a beautiful morning. There's frost on the windowsills. It's just gorgeous. And I'm seriously just filled with love of this place and saying goodbye to this place. And the funny thing is, like, there was hardly any shooting lanes. I remember thinking, like, this is not going to work. Like, usually we have some good shooting lanes through the trees and everything had grown over. No one had sat in that stand in forever. And I remember thinking, I didn't really go to take a buck anyway. A buck would have been just a nice bonus. Well, it probably hour and a half went by maybe of daylight and I saw a buck. I saw a doe come out probably 150 yards, about as far as you can see in those stands. And she crossed this little opening and I threw my binos up and I saw a buck right on her tail. And I'm like, oh, maybe there's a, she's a late doe and estrus, or this, maybe we could get some action. And maybe he'll go over. I remember thinking maybe he'll go over to where Allie, my friend, is sitting. And it was probably 10 minutes later, I hear of the leaves right below my tree stand. Like literally, I leaned out of my window and there he is walking by. He literally went this close, like inches from the ladder that goes up into this big monster box.
He'll get his antlers caught in it.
Yeah.
I couldn't even, in fact, I'm shooting my 28 Nosler long barreled rifle with a suppressor on it. I couldn't even get my gun if I wanted. So I had to like get up off my chair, get back on the windowsill, lean down on the windowsill. By now he's like 30 yards out. Boom, I shoot. I had no idea what he was. You know how in your mind, I'm the kind of hunter who's like, okay, shooter. Like I'm not going to stare at the rack. Like I just knew he was a shooter right away.
I have that problem.
Well, I've make that decision so that I'm not concentrating, and the more I look, the more nervous I get. Right.
Makes sense.
He bucked. I knew I hit him good. He ran off, and it was all pine trees. I mean, it's amazing he walked by and gave me the opportunity, really, because it was very grown in, and I was just freaked out. I'm like, I can't believe it. I just shot a really nice buck. Like this is so awesome. He turned out to be 169 and 7/8 inch 16 pointer with a 12-inch spread, mind you. So he's but he's got he's over there. You can't see him. He's got so much going on. Like, it's just insane. Like, such a cool buck. And that was one of my favorite moments ever, because I was saying goodbye to the cabin. I remember texting my dad, "You are not going to believe this." I think I probably used some expletives. Like, I just shot a 16-inch buck, a 16-point buck. And for all you Western folks, that's 16 total, not side by side.
Yeah,
But, yeah,
we've
you know
had
that
that conversation a couple times.
Yeah,
How was that an 8-point or a 6-point?
Yeah. So anyway, it was one of my favorite moments. It's a moment with my dad that I got to share, and I wasn't expecting it at all. The funny thing is, too, word gets around there, right? Because it's a small town. It's not the Dells. It's past the Wisconsin Dells, and everybody talks at the gas station, and and I guess a guy had that buck on trail camera like 5 miles away, like,
Oh, wow.
yeah, a long ways away, and had been hunting them all fall. And the fact that he wandered all the way over, and my dad doesn't have food plots, trail cameras, nothing.
This was rut travel.
Yeah, this is, late rut. Yeah, maybe he was just after that one hot doe or something. But this is old school Wisconsin hunting. Like, no trail cameras, no food plots, no baiting, no nothing. Just dumb luck again. And like I said, I'll take luck any day of the week, Yeah. But those people who are thinking they shouldn't enter your buck contest, yes, they should, because it can happen.
Absolutely. It's cool that was your last hunt there then, I guess, right?
Yep.
Last hunt, big buck. I had a very similar situation. I had some family land that I lost permission to hunt on, but I had some little bucks come in, and I let them walk and whatnot, and I grunted at one point, and I'm just bobbing my head around looking this way, and then I look back, and there's a buck coming straight at me. And at first, he was at like 100 yards, and I was bow hunting, and the buck I couldn't tell if I wanted to shoot him right away.
Yeah.
But then he got to about 30 yards, and I looked at his antlers, and I couldn't get my eyes off of him. I was like, oh, gosh, that's him. And he got up to 15 yards. I had a really good backdrop. I was only like 12 foot off the ground. I had leaves behind me and everything, and I got a good shot on him, and it turned out to be my biggest buck ever. But if he hadn't have been at 15 yards, I probably would have missed.
Yeah, I know. I've had many moments like that as well. Yeah, and by the way, 12 feet to me is high. Like, I am.
You guys get along.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 10, 12. Whenever my dad would help me with my tree stands, I'd be like, the shortest one. I do not need that extra rung. Like, and the funniest thing is, I really wanted a climber, but I was also I wanted one just to prove to myself that I could hunt out of one. Right? Because they're intimidating, and I'm deathly afraid of heights. Like that. Like, I thought I was going to die on my mountain goat hunt. Like, literally, I'd never ever had a panic attack in my entire life until I went mountain goat hunting, because I thought I was going to die.
Oh,
And but I literally, I'm maybe 10 feet off the ground, if that, on most of my tree stands, just because. But yeah, my climber tree stand. Like, okay, I got it for Christmas. I was going to use it all fall. The first time I was going to use it was kind of icy, rainy day. So I'm like, I'll just go sit in the box blind and see what I see. And I kept seeing, like I was using some other stands. I kept seeing this buck go like 50 yards like coming into a bedding area to check. And so I'm like, okay, the next nice day, I'm going to put my climber up over there. And so I did. I put my climber up there. I bet you I might have been 8 feet off the ground when I mean, if I really took a picture of where me and the climber was, I bet it was 8, 9 feet tops because it's just such a crazy, I was afraid the bottom would slip,
Mhm.
and it was, I can't even remember the name of the brand.
I
It was
tied mine together. I have a climber, which
Yeah.
I'm actually moving to a saddle soon. Honestly, the saddles are so much safer.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I tied my top to my bottom on my climber, and when I would climb up, I
Yeah.
would stop partway, probably 10 feet or so, and sit down for a second just to calm down. Then I climb up a little further.
Yeah,
Oh, no, I just stopped
I rode
there.
one down a tree one time. That was
Oh,
You-
did you? Yeah.
I rode the whole thing down the tree. That was the last time I used a climber. So.
Yeah. 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 I
No,
did
thank you.
shoot my biggest whitetail though, with a bow the next day out of that. So I picked a really good location. He came in. That's another example of like crazy story. He was at probably 20 yards. I shoot him. I had just like when I saw him, I was like, I was lifting my bow up. I just got my bow off. I didn't even have my release out of my backpack, digging for my release, put my release on, and he's just kind of milling, checking beds. And here he comes, here he comes. I drop back, thunk, I shoot him at 20 yards. I felt good on the shot, but I was super nervous because I was scrambling to get it ready. It just came in. It was like at 2 p.m. No, it was earlier than that. It was like 12:30. I'd just gotten done with lunch. So I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so great. And I get out my binos and and my arrow was sticking straight up and down out of the ground. And I'm like, that's weird. So it went through them and just doing into the ground. Okay. And I look and I can't see any blood. You know what I mean? It's like weird.
Yeah.
It was literally straight up and down. I'm like, how, like physics wise, how did that happen? But okay. And then I started to think, what if I missed? Like maybe I missed. I thought I heard a thwack, but I don't know. Your mind plays tricks on you. So as quick as I could, because he ran off, I could see this is actually kind of an open area, and I could see that he just took off. I, as quick as I could, shimmied my way down with my climber, and I went over, and I still don't even know how this happened. 0 blood on that arrow, 0. Sticking straight up and down out of the ground with no blood. And I couldn't believe it. I was like, what? I got it. Okay. Oh. I looked down and there's blood about 2 feet away. I still don't, when I pulled that arrow and I looked there was not one bit of evidence that arrow went through that deer. Not a hair, not blood, nothing. I still cannot explain it, how it went through both sides of a deer, full pass through, nothing on that arrow. I can't explain it. And I
It had a
followed the blood.
washcloth on the other end, and it just cleaned it off when it came out.
So weird, but nothing. And then I picked up a pretty good blood trail, so I backed off. I went in and waited for my dad to come in at dark. We go back out there, and long story short, we're going through in the dark, shining, looking for white belly, right? And I didn't see anything, so we backed out. I don't want to push a deer. Went in the next morning, half eaten by a coyote. Big, nice big buck. It was a beautiful buck. It's like 142-inch whitetail. My biggest to date. And like I said, no trail cameras, no food plots. Like, to me, a 140 is a beautiful buck. And I was so proud of him, but it was just a crazy story. But I was so proud. I wrote an article called Independence Day because of the climber tree stand, and I didn't have to beg my dad to help me move stands. And that was the first article I ever sold to Bowhunter magazine.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
That's
Independence Day. You independently got it done, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. So.
I love it. Now, something stuck in my mind that you mentioned earlier. Not that I just popped back up. You said you had a 5-minute antelope hunt. Tell us about that real quick.
I did. I had gone archery antelope hunting at my friends Jackie and Larry Dobrin's. They're out of Wyoming. And I'd gone a few other years. So much fun. You sit on water holes, and it's just awesome hunt. And she invited me out again, and I said I only have 2 days, but I'll drive there. I was living in Montana. It was about an 8.5-hour drive. I said I'll drive there, hunt 2 days, and then I'll come back. And if I get one, great. If I don't, no big deal. And So anyway, I was just by myself, and I normally don't self-film, but I'm like, it's really easy when you're sitting in a ground blind. It's like the easiest style of self-filming, in my opinion. So I get in my ground blind, I pop up the camera, I getting all ready, and I actually see a buck way out there, and he's kind of zigzagging, but coming into my little water trough. And anyway, long story short, I arrowed him, and I actually filmed him tipping over, dying. From the time I climbed into my tree stand to when I was done, it was like 5 minutes.
Wow.
It was literally
Mhm.
five
Called
minutes.
efficient.
Yeah.
Very
So
efficient.
I boiled it into a little itty bitty episode. It's up on the YouTube channel. It's like the 5 minute hunt.
That's exciting though.
Yeah. Yeah, it
And
was
that,
still great. And it was so great because then I got to, take it back and process it in her garage and chit chat with Larry and Jackie and get a cooler full of antelope meat and drive home the next morning. So,
There you go.
heck yeah.
hmm
I'm thinking like we our crew really hasn't been out west hunting yet, but I'm thinking that antelope is probably going to be one of the first ones we get to do. I've got several preference points, and I've talked all these guys into starting to buy preference points in Wyoming. So
Yeah.
we're going to try to do the group thing probably next year, but if not
Mm-hmm.
next year, the year after for sure.
Oh, heck yeah. It's so fun. Wyoming,
Yeah,
Montana. It's awesome.
yeah.
It's awesome.
And we had another BA hunter on here, Jace Grossbeck. I don't know if you've heard of him, and I know
Yeah.
I'm pronouncing his name right, but wrong. But he didn't correct me, so I'm gonna keep saying it. But he hunts in Utah, Idaho, and Oregon area in there, and we're gonna be in communication with him on attempting to get Idaho tags next year.
Oh,
So
nice.
it's
Yeah,
gonna
I
be a
feel
good
like that
time.
name's really familiar. Yeah, Idaho is a hidden gem too.
Yeah.
People think of the West and they think Colorado, Montana, Wyoming. Utah is amazing, but Idaho is gorgeous. Like when I was a kid in Wisconsin, I remember thinking Idaho, oh, that's where they grow potatoes and it's nothing but big flat open fields. I don't know why I thought that. Idaho is gorgeous. I have tons of friends who live in Idaho, and it's just such a beautiful state to hunt to. But
My
I live
wife's
in
got some
Utah now.
family in Idaho,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
and I've only
You
been
need
up
to
there to
go.
visit them. I haven't been able to hunt there yet. So
Oh, you need to start putting it. Yeah, it's
yes,
gorgeous.
ma'am.
Yeah, Montana is absolutely beautiful. I lived there, I think 12 years. Yeah, about 12 years, 13 years. And then I got married 3 years ago and moved to Utah. But Utah doesn't have the hunting opportunity that a Wyoming or Montana does, but it's still just gorgeous. And there's lots of big game, elk, deer, mountain lion 365, bears, and there's some antelope hunting. It's not as easy of a draw as it is in Wyoming and Montana, but there's great hunting here. There's just not as much opportunity.
Well, so now I have to ask, what is your favorite state to hunt then?
Um, if I could only choose one, it would probably be Montana, just because
Yeah,
it's the one I know the most.
sure.
Living there for over a decade, and just there's so much awesome public land. Now every Montana person's going to send me hate mail because they
Oh
don't like
shoot.
non-residents. But
Well,
I
isn't it difficult in Montana for an out-of-stater to get a tag? Is it a bit lengthier of a lottery?
Not, it depends. You can probably draw antelope in 1 or 2 years. You could probably do a combination. I don't know what the odds are right now. I haven't been as connected to Montana. I was actually a Montana Wildlife Commissioner. I did a
Oh,
term. Yeah, I did a term. I
wow!
was
I didn't
appointed
know
by,
that about you.
yep, I was appointed by the governor. I did it. I was short termed, as they call it. They added two new commissioners onto the commission panel, and I was one of the add-ons. I had a year and a half commission, and then right at the end of that, I was moving to Utah. So I said, "Do you want me to, sign up for another year and move in the middle, or how do you want that?" And you obviously got to live there. So I only
Right.
did the one short term, but I learned a lot. It was very, it was a, it, it's a very, oh, how do I put this? I loved the job in and of itself because I love wildlife so much, but it was really frustrating because of the people that don't understand the complexities of wildlife management. And if you go onto social media and you go onto pages like Utah DWR or Montana's Fish and Game, it's probably the same as Missouri and Wisconsin. It's nothing but hate and stupid comments and people bashing,
Hmm.
and you guys don't know anything. And it was really frustrating. But when I would sit down, like anyone who wrote me or contacted me and said, I want to talk to you about the elk units, or I want to talk. I would sit with them or talk with them. I called every single person back, and that was awesome having discussions like that. I wish that was the way it was on social media, and it wasn't at all. But I respect a lot of people who you don't get paid. It's a lot of time and energy on the evenings and weekends, answering people's calls, researching what's going on, meeting with the biologists. It's a lot of work, and a very little gratitude comes out of it, but it's rewarding in the fact that, you're giving back to something that you love,
What, so with that, in that position that you were in, what would you say the biggest, I don't want to say difference. What kind of impact did you make on the stuff? Was it all information based, or was there changes
No,
that
there
you
was
had to
big
make?
changes. There was
Yeah.
impacts. Like we put the wolf quotas in. That was probably one of the most interesting meetings I had ever have, is when the anti-wolf hunters showed up. They brought a big busload of people offered them free sack lunches, and they got to come to the meeting and get up on the podium and speak. They were only limited to 60 seconds though, because it was such a packed courtroom, right? A room. But yeah, we put the quotas on the wolves, especially around Yellowstone. And look, I understand I met with them actually online. We did a bunch of Zoom meetings. I think to be a good commissioner, you have to listen to all sides. I didn't
Mhm.
agree with their side. I mean, wolves do a lot of damage on elk herds, on deer numbers. They need to be managed. It's that simple.
Mhm.
Wisconsin needs to bring back another wolf hunt. It's that simple. They need to be managed by the state.
Is there a
And
wolf problem in Wisconsin?
oh yeah, northern Wisconsin, huge. And
Oh
now
my.
that now it's back to being a political issue. They can't hunt them. And when they opened up the season a couple years ago, they put a quota out. Now I'm gonna make this number up, but it was something like 120 or whatever. They met that quota in 24 hours.
Oh
Like,
my
Wow.
gosh.
yeah. So yeah, it's a political issue. It's just like the grizzly issue. Grizzlies need to be managed. They need to be managed by the states that have them, and there needs to be a hunting season.
And there's
It's
none in the lower 48, is there?
Nope. It looks like there's gonna be. It looks like there's gonna be. I seriously hope there is. I will not hunt where I used to archery elk hunt. I arrowed a bull. The last bull I ever killed was in 2015 in Montana, I'm saying.
Hmm.
In 2015, and I was scared to death. We filmed 11 grizzly bears in 10 days on film.
Well, and you arrowed an elk,
I
and
arrowed an elk. I wasn't. I actually got two shots into this bull. I wasn't sure. I was not going to bump him, and we went back to our camp, and I did not sleep all night. I was up all night long. Went in the next morning scared to death. I was literally scared to death. I had my knocked, arrow knocked on my bow and my bear spray. Jim had his camera and Glock out, and that's how we went in. And make a noise like crazy, which you're not hoping to stumble upon a wounded bull, but if you do, you're hoping to get another arrow in him or whatever.
uh-huh,
I was convinced there was going to be a grizzly on that bull.
and there
Thank
wasn't.
thank God there wasn't.
Oh
No,
my
thank
gosh.
God
Okay.
Wow.
above. I have a ton of the footage. In fact, that's an episode. It's up on Skullbound and on Carbon.
Okay.
Is it on Carbon? No, because it was on Skullbound Sportsman's channel. It's up on YouTube though. But I show most of the grizzlies that we filmed. Like it's intense. I would never hunt that area again just because I'm freaked to grizzlies. I love grizzlies. I absolutely love bears. If I were to only hunt one species in my life, it would be bears in general. I've only been on one grizzly hunt. It was
You
the most
answered one of my
amazing.
questions already.
Yeah,
Jeez.
it was the most amazing hunt. My grizz hunt was, if I had to, it's really hard to say one hunt, but my grizzly hunt was absolutely incredible. 10 days, 6 planes to get there, dropped off in the Alaska bush for 10 days. It was epic. My husband and I both got great bears. We were with Lance Kronberger, Freelance Outdoors. It was just, stayed in pup tents. It was incredible. And then black bears I hunt every year, usually in Montana. I run my own baits in Idaho. My husband's got a black bear tag here in Utah that we've been chasing bears all season. Um, but I love it all. But grizzlies, I have probably an over the top fear of being mauled by a grizzly because I've seen so
That's a
many of them.
valid fear, I think.
That makes sense to me.
Yeah,
I think
because
of
I was just gonna say, like, I know friends who've been mauled Todd Orr comes to mind. He's out of Bozeman, Montana. If you haven't seen, Jason Matzinger, my buddy, sat down with Todd Orr and filmed his interview about what it was like being mauled by a grizzly bear twice. Same bear got him twice, same morning. It's crazy. It's on YouTube. You need to go watch it. It's crazy. But Todd is this experienced. He's hunts with a pistol. He's shot like 30 bulls with a pistol. Experienced outdoorsman, knife maker, and if he could get mauled, anybody can. Now you could take your precautions, but he did, and he got mauled. So if it can happen to him, it can happen to anybody.
And he's still with us, right?
Yes.
Okay.
He lived. He walked. If you've seen that video, went viral of him. He's walking out of he's in a parking lot. He's got his cell phone out, and there's blood dripping under his hat. Yeah,
I know
that's
exactly
Todd.
who you're talking about now. Yes.
Yeah. He's a real humble dude. He filmed that to like send to his buddies to say like, "How was your day?" Like that video went up on YouTube and went viral.
I remember seeing that, and him just talking kind of normal, but he's like, I can't pull my hat off too much because the skin flap will fall off or whatever.
Right.
Good Lord.
Yeah. So Jason Matzinger sits down with him and interviews more detail about what happened. It's really fascinating, and that's on YouTube. But it's so I've got this, healthy fear, I think, of grizzlies. But the grizzly hunt that I went on was just incredible. But I'm excited to have a hunt here in the lower 48. I think it'll be awesome.
How soon do you think that would happen, that we would get those seasons?
I don't know. It was supposed to happen a couple years ago, and a judge out of Missoula, Montana, halted it. And politically, I don't know how much play judges can do if they then have it again. And it's like, it sounds like it might happen, meaning the task of managing them goes back to the states, meaning they're off the protected list. Management goes back to the states, and a hunting season can ensue. I wouldn't be that surprised if it does happen in the next couple of years, but I also wouldn't be surprised if politics come to play again and it gets halted once again. So
when they do have that happen and they have the season and they want to control the population, is that going to create jobs on people that need to keep better track of the populations, or is that going to make people busier, you think? Or
I don't know, in terms of like at the divisions or at the wildlife agencies. They already have. I would assume it may create some more positions, but I would assume, like, for example, in Montana, they have a bear specialist. His name's Jamie Jonkel, and he was out of Region 2, and he was the bear specialist, and he knows a ton about grizzlies and black bears. And I would almost wonder if that would fall more under, he's already there, maybe fall more under his job. Maybe it would create some more biologist jobs. I'm sure, a lot of the states already have like collared programs where there's a bunch of bears that are collared. Like, for example, if there's a problem bear that comes in and let's say he's raiding someone's chicken coop or trying to kill cattle or something, they'll often get up on it, dart it, tranquilize it, collar it, or they'll trank it, collar it, and relocate it somewhere else. Well, that's a bear that has a collar on, and it's going to give them a lot of data. And that data is going to help determine just more, the more information, the better in determining, the seasons. The biologists do an aerial count of a lot of big game species. In fact, my husband was just on a bison aerial count last week. I've been on elk counts. I've been on wolf. We went out with the biologist who had some wolves collared in Montana once. Utah has more collared deer than any other state. So the collared projects are a ton of benefit, telling us what is going on with the deer herds. And I would assume that when the states are ready to have hunts, they're going to have more collared projects in place, more aerial counts, just to get a better, more solidified number. And again, it's kind of a guesstimate because you're not going to see them all the time. But I can tell you one thing is that they're way above carrying capacity of the land.
And that's my opinion as well, but I don't know as much. I'm not on the ground up there. But that's going to segue me into this other opinion question I want to get from you. And you being from Wisconsin, I know you probably have a little experience with CWD. But talking about collared animals and populations and having real data, I don't think that's something that we do heavily in Missouri that I'm aware of. But we have had a CWD issue that's been very controversial. And I've had my opinions about it because of the limited experience I have and what I've seen, and I don't always want to believe everything I'm told. So I always try to get opinions of someone else that's more experienced. So as far as
I
CWD, what's your take on it?
I honestly, first off, can't give you a real knowledgeable answer because
Okay.
I don't know. I have done some deep dives, like you guys, probably online and reading about what, you've got, here's the spectrum. You've got the Ted Nugents of the world, and then you've got the CWD biologists who, but at the same time, you've got to look at number one, who is saying what. When a department comes out and, and we're hearing from their CWD biologists, well, that's what they do and that's what they want to keep their job, right? Like it's
Hmm.
kind of like the homelessness problem in California. You ask the committee who gets paid a gazillion dollars to manage the homelessness, do you really think they want the homeless problem to be solved? No, they don't want it to be solved because then they're out of a job. I think that's a little bit like the CWD issue. I'm probably going to get a lot of hate for that, but that's okay. I honestly am still sort of standing in the background trying to figure it all out. I don't have a solid opinion. I know
Hmm.
a lot of great biologists who work with CWD, believe it could be it has the potential to becoming huge problem. At the same time, I listen to other people's, I like rack junkies. Do you guys follow rack
Oh yes,
junkies?
Yep.
one
Yeah.
of their most recent posts. I was reading through it and I shared it, and I want to read through more of some of the articles that he writes.
Yeah, I think he's really good at doing deep dives into things. And I think it's pretty fascinating his perspective of, this is a disease that's been around forever. Is it control from the departments? That's what Ted Nugent thinks, obviously. I mean, if you listen to him and talk about Michigan, right? Yeah,
Hmm.
he's convinced that it's to control and it's to limit hunters and that it's been here forever. It's never been transferable to a human, meat to consumption. Um,
Hmm.
but I don't know. I don't know what to think. It's real. It's a disease. It's a real
Right.
disease. I don't. I feel like a lot of it's fear mongering. I might be wrong on that. I just feel like it is. I don't think it's as big of a deal as something like EHD,
Agreed.
or yeah, or brucellosis when it comes.
Right. Hmm.
It's obviously real. I'm not denying that. I just don't know to what level. I think there's huge corruption with it, like a lot of things in life, The concept sounds really good. Oh, let's give them $1 million in funding because we need answers because we love our deer herds and we want to know what can we be doing? Can we be helping with the disposable of them? Should we be not putting them, you know, when we used to take care of deer at the cabin, we would just take it to the dead pit. After we got all the meat off and the skin and the bones, we took to
Hmm.
the dead and the head, if we didn't keep the head like a doe, take to the dead pit. Well, apparently that can live in the ground for up to how many years and so I'm all for teaching us hunters how to be good stewards of the land. How are we going to best handle this problem? I also think the problem has been blown out of proportion, it seems, and again, because of money. So
Hmm.
that's where I'm at right now. I could be completely wrong. I could change my mind. Don't send me any emails. Don't send me hate mail. But that's just where I'm at. I think we all owe it to ourselves to become as educated as we can, but also question what's the source of what your information is, of where your
That's a
information
fair
comes.
assessment. It really is. I mean, a lot of people just they take what they hear, and that's the gospel.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah, I mean,
yeah,
understanding is a big part of it.
yeah,
And I've honestly I've had the quick opinions where I'm like, this is bullshit. I don't want
yeah,
this going on in my area and this and that. But at the same point, seeing what was done in Missouri, which might have been done in other states, I'm not sure, but there was postseason kill-offs in
yeah,
certain areas, and they test a bunch of them.
yeah.
And the fact that I've personally never had a deer tested. When there was a weekend where we had to have mandatory testing, I didn't
Hmm.
harvest a deer. I
Hmm.
really didn't, and I
Yeah,
tag all my deer. I swear, I'll put that out there. I don't do anything illegal,
yeah, yeah,
but. Um, but they kill all these deer, and I noticed the very next year, and it happened 2 years in a row. The very next year, I was not seeing the deer numbers that I saw, and I was told that well, it's because of the weather is messing with them. The acorn crop is different, and the deer are just not moving like they used to. And we have these loops that we drive on the back roads, and we sometimes 5 years ago we'd see 50 deer on that loop, and
Right.
now we're seeing 10 maybe.
Yeah,
So
yeah. And it's interesting. I believe, and I might be wrong on this again. I read a ton of stuff. I belong to like 13 conservation groups, and so I follow them on social. So it gets combobulated in my head. But I believe Rack Junkies did a post on this recently about Wisconsin's deer herd, in that it has the most CWD in the Midwest, but has the largest deer herd.
yeah,
Like,
and the
wasn't
most
that some, didn't he
and
say
the
something?
most Boone and Crockett kills for the last 4 years too.
Sure.
Oh yeah, that's
Yep.
impressive. Unfortunately, it wasn't me, but yeah. So, it's all interesting. I think we all need to, educate ourselves as much as we can, but look at the source.
And I think, kind of trailing into another question, I think social media is both good and bad for these
Oh, yeah.
things. Someone sees something on social media and they immediately want to respond negative, and they're not reading into it, and they're just giving their opinion right away.
Yep.
I'm guilty of it. Everyone's done it.
Right.
But I think, especially with the DGF social media, I have really refrained from all of that, and I ask questions, kind of targeted. Or if someone's bashing anything we have, I just tell them, "Hey, thanks for following us.
Yeah.
Thanks for paying
Oh,
attention."
recently, so
Yeah.
we recently went to Colorado, and my husband and I shot a few coyotes. And so for those who might not know, the anti-hunters, what they'll do is they'll take someone's photo, they put it up on their group private page, and they tell all their minions to go attack. And that's why, like, all of a sudden, I didn't have any service when we were up there, right? And then
Yeah.
we get back, we'd hook up our Starlink, I'd post a couple pictures, and I'd get off. I wasn't seeing what was going on. There was over 300 negative comments, C word, B word, all sorts of garbage
Oh,
on
gosh.
my coyote picture. And the funny part of it is that I monetize my Facebook page. I get paid off and this was on Facebook, and I'm like, thank you for the money. Like, thank you. That post got circulated so much because of your 300 bashing comments. All I have to do is go in and delete them. Like, it's that easy. And you just made me money. Like, that's how ridiculous it is,
I remember
And
your video on that. I went in there and commented just to comment something positive.
yeah, exactly. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
But it is, I agree with you. Social media can be a beautiful, wonderful thing. And it can also be I was talking to my husband about this just this morning about, is the internet ruining our world? Because when I grew up in the 70s. We used to like go to my grandma's house, and my sister and I would walk to the park and spend the whole afternoon at the park by ourselves. We had to, pick up game of kickball and, just all fun stuff, playing in the mud, catching frogs. And nowadays little kids have their own cell phones, and they're got their head buried in them, and they're gaming, and they're, playing internet, they're on the internet gaming each other. And I just think, gosh, I don't know. It makes me really sad sometimes when I think that our younger generation, and older too, but younger generations don't get to experience the kind of childhood that I did, where we rode our bikes everywhere, and, sleepovers were, telling scary ghost stories, and, and now with the internet, I don't know. It's just such a different world. Trust me, I have beautiful friendships that have come out of the internet. My job is because of the internet. I mean, it's all, I just struggle with the fact that the wholesomeness of the, days gone by back in the day when I was a kid, it's gone. It's just gone. And we really have to do it. We really have to think hard and concentrate on getting outside, getting our kids involved in fishing, hunting, trapping. Like it's a real concerted effort, whereas back in the day it was just what kids did,
Yep. I couldn't agree with you more. And some of the stuff that we've had damn good friends focused on has been veterans. We partner with MoVets Outdoors, getting veterans out hunting, but we are looking for an opportunity. When we have time away from our adult jobs to impact the youth a little bit more. We have some youth that we take hunting, but I mean they're all family.
Yeah.
Like we haven't done any like youth events, and there are some good youth organizations around. But
Oh yeah.
Safari Club, our Central Missouri chapter, Safari Club, they have a thing where they take inner city kids and they'll bus them out to a cabin, no electronics. They take them fishing. They show them how to clean fish. They show them how to build a fire, all that good stuff. And I want to eventually we're going to try and break into doing some of that kind of stuff too.
Yeah, yeah.
But
A lot of the conservation groups have youth projects that are so awesome, and it's often the only exposure these kids have to the outdoors.
Yep.
It's not always, hunting. It's not always hunting. It's not always guns. It could be just canoeing, walking in the woods, looking at deer sign. I just think kids and adults too. There's a lot of programs now focusing on first time adult hunters as well. And of course now almost every state has the mentorship program, which you can mentor somebody before they do hunter safety to see if it's something they'd be interested in. I think that's a wonderful thing. But yeah, I worry about our world sometimes. It's kind of scary.
Oh, we have to. And honestly, Jana, it's kind of up to the people in the outdoor community. I don't want to call it an industry. We've gotten better about calling it the community, but being positive on social media and being positive in the messages that we're sending, whether when we take kids hunting or veterans and the things that we do, and trying to avoid the negative crap that some people send our way.
Oh yeah, I don't partake in any of that. Well, I do make fun of antis once in a while, but that's about it. Like they're so easy to make fun of.
Good.
I'll screen grab what they say and then make some funny comment underneath. But if there's one thing we need to band together on is that all of us hunters and anglers and trappers, we need to stick together. There's truly stuff going on behind the scenes that most of us don't see. Like even to the point of having anti-hunters put on wildlife commission boards out west. Take a look at what's going on in Washington, Colorado, and like to stop hunting. It's crazy. We need to band together stronger in ways, social media. If you nothing drives me more crazy when you see someone's stupid comment like, I wouldn't have shot that buck, or, just ripping, ripping on someone or being negative or teasing their camo or whatever it is. It's like, come on, we have to do better. We have to be supportive. If it's something you don't like, maybe message them. If if it's something that you disagree with, or I think hound hunting is wrong. Well, have a discussion with them. Like, you don't have to, I think it's important to have discussions I'll get a message for example, I'll get a message of somebody saying, how could you kill a mountain lion? I thought they were endangered. That kind of comment, I'm happy to receive and have dialogue with. And I will openly have dialogue. I'm not talking DMs. I'm talking openly discuss, you don't even need. Now here in Utah, we have too many predators. You don't even need a mountain lion tag. All you need is a hunting license. That's why they're so overpopulated and doing damage on our big game herds, and I'll go into that is okay. But guys who are just being rude and crude and name calling other hunters, it's so ridiculous.
I'll tell you, Jana, I'm preparing myself for it this year. Solely for the reason that I'm going to hunt on Missouri public land, and I've never killed a buck on it, and I'm not going to be picky. As soon as my heart's thumping, I'm going to take it, and I'm preparing myself. Someone's going to talk some trash.
Yeah.
And I'm going to take your advice, and I'll message them, and I'll give them a positive opinion about that.
Yeah, please do. It's sad.
Yeah.
It's sad. And, buddies razz each other. I get all that. But at the same time, especially when I see young gals getting into hunting and they message me and they're like, I don't know how to handle this comment, or this guy called me names, or it's like, so you do have to get a thick skin. You do have to stand tall behind hunting. If I tell young women a lot when I see them at the shows, if you're new to hunting, you will get hate on social media, and that's okay. You can either choose just to delete their rude comments and they are gone. Block that person. You should see my block list. I have over 5,000 people on my Facebook block list.
I can imagine.
It's just easy to block them. Especially if you can tell they're from an anti-hunting group. Like if they have a dolphin profile picture, it's a pretty dead giveaway. But
Note that down. If they have a dolphin picture, just block them.
A dolphin or a kitten picture, pretty close. Yeah. But I try to teach them, don't argue with them. They're not here to have a honest debate. They're here just to be rude and crude. You're not going to change their mind. They're not going to change yours. So just delete them. Just delete them.
Yeah.
And there might be boys out there who are jealous because maybe your uncle took you and you got a great buck and they're jealous. Just delete them. You cannot let rude, jealous comments get under your skin.
Oh yeah. Well, I really did, like, we see it a lot. We see it plenty, and it's normally like the Missouri bow hunting group. I see a lot on that one on Facebook, but I would like to kind of, I don't know, gloat a little bit. Our big bucks tournament we had last year, there was a 13-year-old girl that got second place with her aunt in our tournament, and it was just so glorified. No one made any dumb comments about a young kid getting a buck, like not putting work in or anything like that. But
Yeah.
I've seen that on the other Facebook groups.
Yeah.
But us doing that and that happening is probably one of the best things, and it motivates me to do an even better job with it.
It's
That's
actually
awesome.
kinda crazy because so my wife joined in this year the hunting group, so it's
Uh-huh.
she's trying her first go at this. So she was doing all of her hunter safety classes and going through the classes now. There's even points of the class where they say, don't over glorify your kill and don't try to not to offend people. And so they're actually portraying that message in those classes of, hey, you're going to offend people, so don't do that. Which is,
Yeah.
I don't know, I don't quite understand that whole thing, but
So I feel like there is nothing wrong with a good grip and grin. Like,
Oh,
I
yes.
feel like I put that time in. I am proud of that animal. I am honoring that animal. Now, I do think we've got to do our best to clean it up. Like, don't have the tongue hanging out. If there's a lot of blood, try to either, nowadays with every app, boom, boom, healing tool, take out the blood. When it's sitting in front of a puddle of blood, try maybe moving the deer for a better picture. I'm all about clean, respectable pictures. That being said, a good grip and grin, I love it. I love kids up there with their bucks or even their little spike buck. Yay, and a big smile. Like, I love that. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Some people do disagree with that. They don't think that we should be, they think, like you said, glorifying the kill. It's truly not. And if someone says that, how do you glorify this kill? Have a discussion, type under there. I'm not glorifying, I'm honoring. I'm so proud of this animal. I spent so many days at the range. I spent, 3 days in sub-zero temperatures. I hunted my butt off, whatever it is. I'm proud that I am gripping and I'm grinning because I'm proud of that animal. That's what that is to me as a hunter. Sorry you disagree.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I
Hey,
like the gripping.
so many people can learn from that. Just having positive response. You don't have to
Yeah.
have an emotional response.
It's not worth it. Trust me, it took me years.
Mhm.
The skin is mighty thick. It took me, in
I
fact,
love
I had
it.
one guy so bad. It was, I think, the second year of Skullbound. I still remember his name. Was it Tom or John? John Wilkins. John Wilkins out of Oklahoma. He was, I don't know if he was part of an anti-hunting group per se, but he was harassing me to no end. I hired an attorney and I'm like, what can we do about this? I need to learn. But it really did. I'm actually really glad I went through it because it was a really good learning experience. He was taking my name and bashing me all over. I remember he tagged me in a post on Direct TV. Like, anyone out there sees this gal's show, she's a poacher, she's this, this, and this, and this. And I'm like, what? Like, it hurt, but I didn't know what I could do about it. Well,
Yeah.
that is borderline breaking tout law, meaning he is trying to personally affect my business. So he is breaking the law. And I actually went to an attorney in Missoula. I had him take a look at all the messages I screen grabbed. And he said, oh, yeah, he's definitely a borderline breaking the law here. And we got the DA to sign off on a cease and desist letter that we sent off to his house. Never heard from him again. But I would take it. I would so much take it to a court if need be when someone is harassing you at that level. I mean, to the point of, calling me a poacher, saying that he was going to hunt me down. Like, and this is a long time. This is like 14 years
That's a
ago. It's a long
threat.
time. I didn't know how to handle it back then. I think the best way now to handle stuff like that, and there's a bunch of loonies out there, but I really think screen grab their comment so you have record of it. And then go in, block that person and any other account they may create. It gives you that option. And then just erase the comment. I truly think that's the best way to deal with haters now. And honestly, when you look at them, most of them are either from overseas, and I'm talking the major death threats, like I'm going to gut you in your front lawn kind of comments, which I get those all the time. They're either from overseas or they're fake accounts. Where there's no profile picture. They're
Right.
123_high five or whatever that's their name. They can't even use their real name. Like
Right.
it's, and when you really think about that, especially when I'm talking to teenage girls who are, emotional and sensitive, I'm like, think about it. These comments come from, first of all, someone overseas who doesn't understand our culture and our hunting lifestyle, or someone who's not even man enough to put their name, or woman enough to put their name. This is such a weak person, and they're trying to get under your skin. They're trying to hurt you, and they can't even stand tall behind their own name. They're not worth your energy. Don't give them that. Just delete and ban them.
I agree. Just ghost them.
Yep. Yep.
Best way to get rid of it.
Mm-hmm. And
My
then
God.
monetize your Facebook so they make you money.
Right. I don't think we quite have enough juice for that with DGF just yet. We're working on it though.
Well, you don't have to have a lot of juice. They can come in all shapes and sizes, but yeah, I do think women are attacked a lot more than guys. I really do
Yes.
think.
Oh,
I
I'm
think
sure.
that I think they just think women are weaker and that I'm going to send her a nasty comment. I think men do that to women, and there are women who do it too, but I think more of the comments are from men than women, and I think men feel they can attack women a lot easier than a bunch of guys.
Tough
So
guys.
that's probably why you haven't gotten it as much. You look tough.
Oh, geez. Well, thank you for that. I don't feel tough nowadays, but no, but I think, and I may be toxic masculine for saying stuff like this, but I hate seeing an actual threat to someone like that. Like if it was my wife or my niece receiving that threat, like I'm borderline gonna hunt you down. Like
Yeah,
stop,
I know.
stop with
First of
that crap.
all, let me just say, in my opinion, there is no such thing as toxic masculinity. That is such a ridiculous term made up by the woke left. And there's a lot of us women who actually love our men masculine. And there's no such, I get it. What they're saying is men who like have rage problems and stuff like that. But no, I think being masculine is a good thing. We need manly men, and don't fall for any of that. I think it's good to stand up for anybody, man, woman, boy, girl, who's getting harassed. It's good to stand up for them.
Absolutely. Well, I want to tie this question in just a little bit for us. I was talking about our big bucks tournament. We've gotten last year was our first year with it, and we got a little bit of kickback on them. On them, I say them. MDC, they watch us very closely to make sure we're legal and everything, and we got to be transparent with how people are signing up and getting their animals and whatnot. But we got accused of we were promoting killing bucks only. You're only hunting bucks, and we're not killing enough deer, and the populations are out of control, which is that other thing that I wasn't sure of. So I wanted to make a positive response, and in that response, it's every month during season, the first 5 people to kill a doe and tag us on social media, we're going to send them a Slickhead Slayer shirt.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
Promoting killing does. But what would be another piece of advice that you may give us or any outdoorsman that could continue making a positive impact on conservation moving forward with a tournament or just hunting in general publicly?
Yeah, I think honestly, if to make us obviously we're all contributors hunting. I'm sure most of your listeners understand that when we're buying any kind of gun or ammo or archery products, we are contributing because of the Pittman-Robertson Act of, I think, 1937 or 39, where we get taxed on that. That goes back to the wildlife agencies of the state to help manage wildlife. Yes, we're contributing that way, and our licenses and our tags and all that. But if you really want to make a difference, I say get involved. Not just on social media, because it does, answer questions, respond, follow other groups, get involved with conservation groups on social media, but I mean belong to them. Join a Ducks Unlimited, Pheasants Forever, Mule Deer Foundation, Turkey Federation. Like I said, my husband and I think it's 13 groups that we actively belong to. I think becoming a member, contributing that way, be a volunteer. all those groups need volunteers for projects, and they're fun projects. They're like, going planting or putting in water guzzlers or taking out fencing or lots of fun. I've gone on collaring deer. Tomorrow night we're going, no, 2 nights. We're going Thursday night, we're going duck banding with the DWR. We actually go out at night, catch
You
ducks
get
and help.
excited?
I did.
It's so fun. Have you ever done it? Have you ever done
No,
it?
no, that'd be a blast. I'm
Oh,
a
it's
big
so fun.
waterfowl guy, so that'd
Yeah.
be so much fun.
Well, have you ever wondered where they get their bands? I did. Even before I went duck banding with them and goose banding with them, I was like, I never really thought about it. And I'm not a big waterfowler either, but I know that when you shoot a bird and it's got a band on it, that's a big deal. That's so
Got the
cool.
jewelry.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and you can look it up and see where it was banded and how far it's traveled.
Mhm.
Well, yeah, have you ever wondered how they get their band? Well, each state does it, I'm sure, similarly, where we go out onto the lakes here in Utah and you're riding on the front of an airboat, you got your big net, and you can't scoop it up like that because you're going too fast, but you kind of almost opposite, scoop it up like that in the net. You pass the duck to somebody else on the boat. They put it in these crates. When our crates are full, we go back to shore, and there's a big line of biologists under the floodlights, and they are sexting the bird to figure out male, female, age, type of bird. They're drawing blood and studying for disease, and then they're giving that bird a band that's going to last their lifetime. And these
Right.
ducks are the same ducks that are traveling all the way down to South America, all the way back up to Canada, like traveling major distances. And so when you shoot a goose, a duck, a swan out of the air and it's got a band on, you can go online and figure out where it was banded, when it was banded, how old it might be. It's so cool. But okay,
They
back to
claim
your
there
question.
used to be reward bands too. Years ago, there used to be reward bands.
Oh,
Reward, like
yeah.
they would pay you
Yeah.
for it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you've got a certain band, you go online, log it in. It might be worth like $10 or something like that.
You can get a little certificate.
Your little certificate and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you killed
But
a banded duck,
I've
Cody?
not.
You haven't?
Nope.
Okay.
But you can actually get involved with DWR, Utah's DWR. You can sign up and be one of their volunteers, and they do really fun stuff like that. They go on bear denning projects. So get involved. Like I'd say to all hunters who are want to be more involved in the conservation of it, join a conservation group, get involved with that conservation group. They all need volunteers for their banquets. And banquets are so fun. I grew up going
yes.
to Ducks Unlimited, Pheasants Forever banquets in Wisconsin, Whitetails Unlimited, QDMA banquets. That doesn't even exist anymore. But my dad would, bring me along, and I loved them. They were just super fun. And our banquets here in Utah are awesome. We have huge kids booths where all the kids walk away with a prize. But yeah, get involved in that way. I think that a lot of people talk the talk and walk the walk, but you got to get involved. And if you're maybe you want to be involved in your local, what's going on locally with your deer herd or your duck numbers or your pheasants or your turkey flocks, get involved with I guarantee you there's somewhere local that has a conservation group. Get involved with that conservation group, not just as becoming a member, but being a volunteer, and then try to maybe volunteer with your state organization as well, because I guarantee they're doing some pretty fun stuff out there. Maybe
That's
not as
good
fun as
advice.
duck
I like
banding.
that.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. And I didn't. We go to banquets all the time as well, and I didn't really think of volunteering at that. But I'm sure they do more than just their banquet. Ducks
Yeah.
Unlimited, Whitetails Unlimited, that Delta
Yeah.
waterfowl that we're looking
Yep.
at.
Those are
We
great
hosted our
organizations.
first banquet this last year, and it was solely for the reason of raising money for Movets Outdoors. We raised $43,000 for them for
That's
their
awesome.
Veterans
Oh,
Lodge.
the veteran getting vets outside is very near and dear to my heart. I actually have done some. I mean, they're honestly my favorite moments in the field. I put all of my veteran episodes into one big season. It's already all loaded up on YouTube. On YouTube you have playlists. I have a veteran Chronicles playlist, which is, I think it's 13, 14, 15 maybe of my favorite veteran episodes I've done in the last 16 years. And from double amputees, triple amputees, a lot of singles, some women who were combat nurses, just amazing, amazing veterans. And we tell their story interlaced with the hunt. So we cut back and forth from them in a spine interview style, telling their story, and then on a hunt. And I've had just some incredible amazing times with vets in the field. So
Yeah,
yeah.
I've seen some of your clips from the double amputee Navy veteran, I think.
Oh yeah, so there was a Navy SEAL, Bo Ridgeback.
Yeah,
He was the first one I ever went and took out. And then there's a double amputee, Jonathan. He was a Marine, but he's very high amputee, like right at the hip bone. And we took him on an elk hunt. Um, how many years ago was that? It was like 6 years ago. It's one of my favorite hunts ever. But yeah, they're just so inspiring. And these
Mhm.
men and women, primarily men, but some of the women who are combat related, um, they just they've lost a ton, they've seen a ton, and nature is just so incredibly healing. And honestly, a lot of it is the camaraderie. You guys know,
Mhm.
when you're out of the military, you come back and it's like that brotherhood, all of a sudden it's not there. And I think hunting is a really awesome way to build back sort of the brotherhood. You've got hunting that connects you, preparing for a hunt, shooting at the range, going out after the season and talking about your hunts. It's the same similar camaraderie that can bind these men and women, that can help them just feel connected again.
Mhm.
absolutely.
And it's really amazing to see at deer camp or duck camp or wherever we go with MoVets, and we get all the veterans around the campfire, and sometimes there's some tears shed.
Oh
Sometimes,
yeah.
often we're laughing about stuff. We're telling stories that we don't tell anybody else, and
Yeah.
there's normally some people drink a little bit of beer and some people don't, but either way, we're all there together. And I've never, like, thinking about being in college and getting around a you know a college party, nothing like getting around
No.
a hunting campfire with veterans, especially
Yep.
because the stories and everything you guys tell, and everybody has come from different backgrounds, but we all have something in common when we're telling the stories, and we get excited for each other regardless of how big the buck was or
Yep.
what story you told from overseas. We're excited to be there for each other, and it's therapy. It's great.
Yeah,
Or
exactly.
what branch you were in.
Exactly.
Or
Make
the
fun,
branch, yes,
make fun of everybody equally.
we do have fun making fun of each other for being other branches.
Yes, exactly. It
I,
would be weird if you didn't.
I always tell the story that most of my family was in the Air Force, and I joined the Army because I could beat all them up.
I like it. I like it.
Oh
We're
my
very
God.
big pro Air Force though here in our family. We're John's son is top tier one special forces in the Air Force, and we're just so proud of
Oh,
him.
nice.
Very
Yeah, and
nice.
this is a very big Air Force. Utah is a very big Air Force
Hmm.
state. Yeah, a lot of my friends are Air Force or are currently in or former Air Force. But no, I love them all. I've done every single branch. I've hunted with every single branch, and all kinds of just amazing human beings.
Yes. Well, I don't want to keep you too long. I know you've got some bear hunting to plan and whatnot, but I have 7 questions for you.
Okay,
And I want to try to end with these. And I'm going to do them fast, and then the last one might be a little more lengthy.
okay,
Are you ready?
I'm ready. Give it to me.
All right. Bow or rifle?
Oh, I would have said bow for 25 years, but now I'm going to say rifle.
Okay. Deer or bears?
Oh, bears.
Bears
Yeah,
for
I
sure.
hunt bear more than anything else.
Okay. Shoulder mount or Euro mount?
Well, that's tough. I'm a skull person, so but if you look
Uh-huh.
behind me, you'd think
Well,
it
I
was
wanted to
shoulder.
ask you. You have a beautiful view behind you, but you
It-
make some beautiful art on some skulls.
Thank you. I like them both. I actually really think there's a time for a euro and there's a time for a shoulder mount. And
Okay.
it's not always on the size. It's not, I'm not just saying like size. Oh, if it's really big, you have to shoulder mount it. No, I have some amazing, bucks that are just euroed, but I really do like them both.
Well, and if I can pause on that question for a second, if the hunt was exciting, or I had the right damn good friend with me, or relative or whatever, and it was a big experience, I'd probably spend the money to get it mounted,
Yeah. Well, I
like
have stuff
just
you would
because I want to
laugh at.
capture all of it. Yeah.
I have stuff you would laugh at that's mounted because it was my first muzzle loader and it was my, first archery muley or my first, I have stuff that like it's slowly being whittled down either to the less visible places in the house or the garage. But and not that we're running out of room because we have some high ceilings left that we gosh, we had literally have like 9 things at the taxidermist. We're kind of addicted. It's kind of a problem in
Serious
this house.
problems. You know
Yeah,
that?
we do have a serious problem, but it's also what my husband and I love. Like it is
Yes.
our total passion. And we love having people over and telling them the stories and like it's just what I like. And it's not for everybody. I totally see that point of view too, but it's what we love. So we're kind of taxidermy heavy in this house. But downstairs is almost all just Euroed. Like all so
No,
back to the
nice.
question, I love them both, but I do love taxidermy as well.
Good. All right. To celebrate a hunt, wine, whiskey, or Hawaiian punch?
Oh, wine.
Okay.
Now
My
you would
wife will
think
want me to
you
ask this. What kind of wine?
oh, um if it's okay, I'm a warm weather white, cold weather red kind of gal.
Okay.
Okay.
So in the warm months I like a nice Sauvignon Blanc. In the cold months I like a red and it doesn't matter what it is. I like them all. But I'm
Okay.
definitely and the fun want to hear the one of the funniest things ever is I'm from Wisconsin. I've never drank a full beer in my entire life.
Oh,
Whoa.
wow.
Never. I hate
That's a
beer
sin in
so much.
Missouri.
I would stand there in colleges and like pour it out in the plant and stuff, just to be cold.
You leaving the
But
plant nice?
yeah, but you wonder why. I hate beer, and so I've had sips trying to get used to it because everybody says you got. No, I've never drank a full beer, even a half a beer in my entire life.
Wow.
Well, we won't hold that against you.
Thank you, thank you. You would also think I'd be into brandy because that's the number one booze in
Right.
Wisconsin.
Yeah. The
Brandy
brandy
old
old fashions
fashioned.
in
Yep.
Wisconsin.
Yep.
But I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm a wine gal.
Okay. Sunrise or sunset?
Oh, sunset, baby. I hate getting up in the morning.
Oh, you an evening hunter then, huh?
Yeah. I mean, I get up
Absolutely.
because I have to, but I don't enjoy
Uh-huh.
it. So
I
I'd say
gotcha.
sunset all day long.
Oh, for some reason, the sunrise, and I always say a prayer when the sun
Yeah.
comes up, whether it's to myself or out loud because no one's with me or whatever. The sunrise is the best time for a prayer, in my opinion.
It really is. I
Oh
agree with
yeah.
you there. I mean, I don't tree stand hunt much, hardly at all anymore, but for all those decades that would just sit, I do agree with you. I feel I would pray as well. I I I don't go to church, but I am a Christian. I'm a lover of Jesus. But I don't go to church. I used to go to a Catholic church when I was in Wisconsin, but after moving out west, I don't have a church. But I do really believe that when I'm outdoors, I just think things quiet down easier and it's a better time to pray. I really do. I don't think there's been a day where I'm outside that I'm not talking to God.
Mm-hmm.
And
Oh, and
sunrise is a good time.
if I can lay some faith on you real quick, being Catholic, I'm a new Catholic.
Oh,
I'm totally new to it, but the church isn't a building; it's the people.
yeah.
So you're
Yeah.
doing it right, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Yeah. Oh, thanks. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm, everybody's on a different spiritual journey. I'm on mine right now. I'm reading the Bible every day, through an app. But I'm just grateful. And the older that we get, I think that's a key to happiness is just, I'm so grateful for my life, my house, my husband, my hounds, just my lifestyle. And I think a lot of that gratitude, really, you feel it when you're in the outdoors. Like
Hmm.
it's hard not to just feel grateful when you're looking at God's beauty and all of his amazing creatures. And, you're, even when you're huffing and puffing and hiking the mountain. And every day that I go to bed tired and exhausted, I'm like, God, thank you that I can do that. Just
Hmm.
gratitude that I'm able to climb mountains and yeah, I think the key to a very happy life is gratitude.
I said that last time I went duck hunting with you guys and carried all that shit out to the blind.
You're welcome.
Yeah, you're welcome for that life lesson.
Favorite wild game meal?
I'd have to tap on, oh, I can just say one. So I do not like to cook. I'm not one of these
Oh,
people who, in fact, I was just my Instagram buddy who's a big, big cook. I was laughing with him last week about, dude, you don't understand. I don't like to cook like you. Like everything is like photographed and it just looks like it took forever to prepare. And I'm just the easiest cook. Obviously, we cook a ton of wild game, but my friend Shelly has a cooking show on Carbon TV. It's her name is Chef Shelly, and she came over and did an episode with my bear one time and made oso barilla, bear tacos, if you will, and
Oh.
they were so amazing. Bear can be really delicious if
Mhm.
prepared right. Now, I'm more of a lazy crock pot style of cook, but
Mhm.
that oso barilla that she made was fantastic. And you could actually watch that episode on Carbon if you want on her show. But I'd say probably the best tasting wild game I've ever had was that Sika. It was
Oh,
Okay.
amazing. Yeah, because it was like sweet venison. It just had a better sweet. We actually pan-seared it that morning. Like
Hmm.
it was so
oh,
good.
there's nothing better than deer camp with fresh kill.
I don't
Yeah.
know, that moose burger I had a couple days ago was pretty good too.
Yeah.
So
That rich red moose burger.
Mhm.
Moose,
Yeah.
see the moose in the back. I've had moose.
I-
Moose isn't high on my list. It's good. It's good. But we just got back from Africa and we got to eat almost everything that we shot like the next day or the second day after. And it was so cool. And honestly, my buddy Heath, my producer, he shot a kudu and that was just amazing. Now,
That's
of
what
course,
I've
it
heard.
depends on the recipe and how you cook it, but the kudu was amazing. The springbuck was fantastic. We did not eat John's Dugaboy. I was curious as to what that would taste like. But everything goes to use there. You know, it either
Right.
goes to the workers in camp and then they have actually a little place where they sell the meat there at camp, or it goes into town in bulk.
Mhm.
But nothing goes to waste. But yeah, it's really fun to try all the different species when you're over in Africa.
Heck yeah. I'm willing to try anything twice.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, last question, and we try to ask everybody this question on the podcast. Give us your definition or description of a damn good friend. What's a damn good friend to you?
Oh, that's so cute.
Rugged
In
and manly.
general, what?
I said
What'd
it's
you
rugged
say?
and manly, actually.
Oh yeah, it is. It is. A damn good friend is, I think, someone who is just authentic with you at all times. They're going to give you their authentic self and their authentic answers at all times. I think someone who is um, loyal and honest. And I'm really blessed. I would not say that I have a ton of friends. I have a ton of acquaintances, but I could count on two hands the men and women that I call besties. You know,
Mhm.
my best friend's my husband. I mean, he's just an amazing human being. He's got sound, solid advice. He's just always a rock solid person. And I've got Jules, my bestie, who's just a good sweetheart of a person too. She makes me laugh more than anybody on the planet. But a good damn friend is somebody who I think is just authentically themselves with you at all times, good and bad.
I like that. And we get kind of similar answers, but I feel like yours is pretty unique compared to answers we've gotten.
Oh yeah. Oh,
I like that. I like that a lot. Authentic.
good.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I like it.
Well, as I think we live in such a bogus world right now with social media and all the crap going on, and you never know what to believe, and there's
Posers
all
and
this
pretenders.
yeah, and conspiracy theory, this or that. As I've gotten older, I just love authentic people. People
Mhm.
just are what you see is what you get. I love that kind of person.
I can relate to that. We had an episode where we had a little bit to drink and we talked about wrestling nonstop and we were imitating wrestlers and it made me think of when I was younger, always trying to be a wrestler, and now I know it, obviously wrestling's fake. Yep, I said it, wrestling's fake. But in my younger college years, I was into mixed martial arts and I was constantly trying to be this big tough guy that I'm really not.
Yeah.
So,
But isn't that that's
yeah,
all of us? Like,
yeah.
that's how our brains work. It takes forever to figure you out, And like I'm really glad I got into Skullbound and into this community, if you will, like you said,
Yes.
16 years ago in my older adult life, right? There's a lot of, men and women who are getting into this in their 20s. I mean, I'm proud to say I'm 55 in 2 weeks. But I'm glad that I started Skullbound when I did, because I don't think you really know who you are until your 30s, maybe your late 30s, 40s, 50s. you start to really fine tune who you are, what makes you tick, what you love in other people, the people you surround yourself with. And that just becomes more and more important. And honestly, my dad always said this too when we were younger. Your friends circle actually becomes smaller the older you get. Did you
say
just
that
say?
all the time.
Yes.
Yeah.
All the time we'll
It's
say that.
because you can't stand bogus. The older you
Uh-huh.
get, like I just don't have any time for negativity, drama. I have time for drama if my friends are going through something and I can help them. But like I don't have any drama queen friends. My circle's pretty small, but gosh, are they just the most amazing people.
Hmm.
And it obviously starts in my home. I just think the world of my husband. He was just a blessing. And but yeah, I'm really lucky. I love the name of your podcast because I think a damn good friend is hard to find, but when you find them, they're priceless. I really think that.
Amen. I love
Absolutely.
that. I love that a whole lot. Well, Janet, I'm going to let you get back to your husband and go find his bear. Thank you so much for coming on our podcast.
Yeah,
I'm so grateful that you came on.
absolutely. There's so much we didn't even get to talk about, and we've been chatting for 2 hours here. But I'll have to come on
Yeah.
again and tell you the Dwight story about
Okay.
Absolutely.
sitting down with Rainn Wilson. That was a really
Oh
unique
gosh, dang. Yeah,
experience.
that was on my list
I know
tonight.
we were going to talk about that, but
Yep.
people can go look at it. It's online. It was just such a unique experience, and I really think that it's an awesome concept. So, United by Nature is a group started
Mhm.
that is trying to just sit people down from opposite ends of the spectrum and to talk about issues. And they asked if I would come on and just talk about, well, they didn't tell me what we were going to talk about. Had they told me we were going to talk about climate change, I might have been a little bit more, but we talked about hunting and we talked about eating wild game. And Rainn Wilson, who played Dwight on The Office,
Mhm.
he is
Uh-huh.
primarily a vegan. One of the parts that did not make the cut, because we talked for like, what, 2.5 hours, like it's all boiled into like a 30-minute podcast.
Yeah, it seemed
But
pretty quick. I'm sure there was a lot
yeah,
more to it.
so much we talked about that didn't make it on.
Mhm.
But he said in the very beginning, he's like, me and my wife are primarily vegan, but every once in a while I enjoy a great hamburger. And it would kind of be
Mhm.
hypocritical of me to critique hunters when there's somebody else out there doing the hard work for me and my burger. And I thought that's a really great, what a great point.
That was an
Um,
adult thing to say, honestly.
yeah, absolutely. It was a great conversation, and you can watch it on YouTube under the United by Nature channel. But it was a fun experience. It was something really unique that obviously I don't talk to celebrities ever. So it was really fun. It was a big honor. They're actually going to be doing some more interviews this next week here in Utah, and the producer called and said, "Come up to the cabin, and say hi to the crew," and so that'll be kind of fun. But yeah, that
Heck
was
yeah.
unique. Yeah.
That is
But
very cool.
thanks so much for the fun chat. There's so many other things we could chat about. I'll just have to come on again.
I will absolutely welcome you on again, and maybe next time your husband will jump on with us.
Yeah. Oh, he'd love to.
Yeah,
As long
that
as you
would
talk
be
about
great.
coyotes. He only cares about coyotes.
Oh, you know what? I'm not going to go down any rabbit holes, but we are getting more and more into coyote hunting.
Mhm.
Oh,
We have thermal night hunting in Missouri for an extended
yeah.
period now, and it's getting bigger, and it's going to cost me more money, but it's going to be
Oh,
okay
yeah.
because we're going to have fun with it.
You need to have my husband on. He's one of the first people ever to own, that I know, to own decoy dogs. We have coyote dogs.
Hmm.
So our two dogs help us when we go out hunting coyotes in the spring and the summer. They decoy the coyotes back to us. It's crazy cool. It's so fun.
Huh.
I've got some of those up on YouTube too if you want to go watch those. But yeah, you need to have him on because he works with Fox Pro. If he could hunt only one thing ever, it would be coyotes. He's hunted around I mean, that monster buck behind me is his. He's,
Hmm.
from grizzlies to mountain goats to sheep, he's hunted it all. And if he could choose one thing, it'd be coyotes.
I hear a lot of big game hunters say that,
Yeah.
which it's exciting.
Yeah,
So,
it is fun. It is.
well,
You'll have to
Jana,
have him on.
we'll stay in touch and we'll figure that out whenever we're all not hunting so much.
Yeah, whenever that happens. Yeah. No, that'll be a lot of fun. He's a great person to have on a podcast, and he's got a voice that you could sit and listen to him read the phone book.
As long as he doesn't try to do an auction while we're on.
Not unless you want him to.
Right on, Jana. Well, thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for the chat.
Yep. Have a good night.